Welcome to In the Room, where we explore the elusive world of casting for film, TV, and commercials. Join us as we interview directors, writers, producers, and actors, taking a deep dive into their experiences with casting and how the ultimate decisions are made in bringing a story to the screen. Get an inside look at casting and find out what really goes on in the room. Hi, I'm Heather Kafka.
I'm John Williams.
And on this edition of In the Room, we welcome Anne Hollister. She is a producer, writer, actor, and executive at Billy Magnuson's Happy Bad Bungalow. She recently produced the upcoming feature Mattress Mack and served as associate producer on Coop, the 2023 Venice Film Festival, and IFC's Violent Ends. As an actor, she's appeared on Broadway in August, Osage County, on the shows Supergirl, Strange Angel, and Everyone is Doing Great, and in the films Can You Ever Forgive Me and The Year Between. As a writer, her feature The Housesitter was part of the 2023 Blacklist Labs. She is currently developing a thriller with Pretty Matches. She is a graduate of LaGuardia Arts and Northwestern University, and she is a really wonderful human being who I just recently got to work with, and I'm so excited to talk to you. Thanks for coming.
Okay, first off,
Oh my gosh.
I'm from Houston, so I'm so excited for Mattress Mack.
Oh, that's so exciting. I had no idea who Mattress Mack
was.
was 6 years ago, and it's been such an amazing experience getting to talk to Houstonians and see the way they light up when we mention his name. I don't think there's any other figure in a city that captures a community quite like Mattress Mack. So
Save you money.
Yes, we all did it. We all did it.
Exactly. Yes, and Heather is so wonderful in the movie. I'm so excited for everyone to see the movie and your wonderful work, Heather. It was such a pleasure having you.
Thank you so much. It was really one of the best film experiences I've ever had. You guys created a beautiful, amazing, supportive set, and it just felt really good to work on. But let's start at the very beginning, because I'm so curious about your multifaceted, super talented in all these different ways and how that all came to be. So, okay, you're a little baby and you're born.
Mm-hmm.
Where are you?
She comes out, hello, my baby.
Yeah, hello, my honey.
Truly not far off. I loved watching the movie Annie, obviously, as a redhead who went by Annie when I was little. That was huge. And I don't really ever remember a time when I didn't want to perform. I started acting at the People's Light and Theater Company in Pennsylvania, and that led to me getting management in New York. And so when I was a teenager, I moved to New York to attend LaGuardia Arts High School, and subsequently landed a part in August Osage County, which was an absolutely incredible, life-changing experience. That led me to going to Northwestern University, where I learned how to write and produce my own work. And then about 6 years ago, I met the wonderful Billy Magnuson, who also is an actor. And we were sort of talking about how being an actor, you don't really have a lot of control over the kinds of stories you get to tell. You're just sort of a paint in someone else's color palette, and you just have to sort of be the best blue that you can be.
Mm-hmm.
And we wanted more onus over the kinds of things we were putting into the world. And so we started Happy Bad Bungalow. And, we call ourselves artists who support other artists to tell great stories. And that really is what we do.
Did you have that kind of support for being an artist at home when you were growing up? Were your parents?
I mean, they had to. They moved. I mean, either they let you move to New York at a very young age, or they went. That's so supportive, it seems.
But when you were running around, hello, my honey, hello, my baby, were they like, oh, God? Or were they like, oh, let's get her up there?
No, they were very supportive, and I think sort of like in awe of the fact that I was so certain about what I wanted to do. Both of them they're not performers or or in the arts at all. So I think it was really exciting for them that I was sort of opening up their world to this this new community and way of being in the world. So yeah, it's it's been quite the journey.
Do you have brothers and sisters? Was it a big family?
I have 2 sisters. We're very close in age. My older sister is 11 months older than me, and my younger sister is 13 months younger than me, so we're really like
Yeah.
Irish triplets.
Yeah.
And, they both sort of dabbled in theater when we were growing up, sort of because I was doing that and it just kind of happened, but both of them are no longer really in the arts, but I think are, very thankful for what the arts has kind of brought to their lives. They're both extremely empathetic, sweet, wonderful people, and that's partially our upbringing and uh, being involved in the arts.
Yeah. Well, I know when I was growing up, we were quite the entertainers. Myself and my cousins were all close in age, and we would descend upon my grandmother's house in Dallas. And they're like, one of 6 kids and all that. So it was like
Oh
always big and
wow!
rowdy, but you could count on the cousins doing a show. Like we always put
Yeah,
on some kind of show, whether it was like a scene from The Wizard of Oz or a full, like I think we did The Wiz one time. So it was like full on, somebody was the lion and it was like, I'm a mean old lion. And like, they had to endure so much of that growing up. But, maybe
Just the fact that you call it The Wiz.
no, not The Wizard of Oz. I'm
Oh,
talking about
oh,
The
The Wiz.
Wiz.
Okay, wow.
Yeah,
I love
he's
the
on down the
Wiz.
road. That one. Yes, that one.
It's so good. We
Yeah.
had, American Girl dolls?
Yeah.
They had these, like, plays for the American Girl dolls, like, that the
Oh.
American Girl doll company published, and we used to perform those, like, or when my sisters would have friends over, I would be like, "Great, I've got a theater troupe," and I would try to get all of my older sisters' friends in the living room so I could direct them in a play, and I remember there was one day she was like, "You gotta stop doing that when I have a sleepover.
Yeah,
I wanna do other things. I
yeah.
don't always wanna do plays."
Yeah, you were already producing and directing, and everybody was like,
Yep,
"Oh, another 13-hour day with Anne."
exactly.
Like, um, yeah, and then when we got the first video cameras, I remember, we played around with that so much, and,
Oh, yeah.
my dad would work the camera, and my other cousin and I, we'd have, like, a whole script, and we'd get my little brother involved, and it was like he was the robber, and we had all these jewels, and we were like, "Oh," and we would make these little movies. It was just ridiculous and awesome. I love to hear
Uh,
stories of when parents and families are supportive of their creative children.
So were you
yeah,
were you guys
absolutely.
going back and forth for auditions? Were you auditioning a lot or?
Yes, I was. I mean, I was lucky because, People's Light was such a wonderful home base. It's a regional theater company in Malvern, Pennsylvania. Uh, David Corenswet, who just played Superman, he was also doing theater there alongside me,
He did
and
such a
so
good job. Superman was so good.
wasn't he
Yeah,
amazing? I
yeah.
also just loved that version because of how dog forward it was.
Yes.
I love any movie that incorporates dogs. But that was such a great home base. And then, yeah, that was how I got my agent. So we were sort of going back and forth. I actually was homeschooled during my middle school years so that I could be
Mm.
doing professional work. I did some Broadway work. I did some other regional work in Philadelphia, and then yeah, it just made sense to then move to the city, and I was lucky enough to get into LaGuardia, which was just a
Yeah, so
phenomenal high
that's
school.
was high school, so that's like Fame, the show Fame,
Yeah,
right? And, like,
exactly.
did you, um you auditioned to get into the school, yes?
I did, yes.
And then did you do everything like I went to the American Academy of Dramatic Arts, but that was college, but did you guys do everything like we did, like fencing and, like,
We did. Oh, it's funny you mentioned fencing because somebody recently found a video that somebody took during a like sword fighting class that we did, and it's just the funniest video because we were doing the fencing stuff in a theater, but then the camera sort of panned to everybody sitting in the audience, and there were kids who were, like, studying for a math test and other kids who were, like, gossiping, and like it was just such a great encapsulation of what it was like to go to that school.
Yeah.
We were extremely focused on being the best performers we could be, but then it was also an academic institution, and that comes with all the social hierarchies and freaking out over geometry and all of that stuff. And that was such a great video to see and be like, yeah, that's what it was like. That's how
That's
special the environment was.
fascinating. Yeah. Ours was pretty much like your college age now. So, right, you should have done all of your academics. So it was just
Yep.
literally like put every theater kid in the world on this campus together and just let them loose. And I mean, so many over the top personalities constantly roaming the halls, singing for you. There's singing class and dance class and fencing and theater history and like acting and all of it. It was so fun.
Was there much time at that, like during that you, besides theater, were you going out for movies, commercials, TV, or was New York not that busy at that time?
Oh no, it was very busy. I was cast in a little movie called Black Swan, but then my part was cut out of the movie. But I remember at the time being like really, I didn't understand the script when I read it. I mean, I was like 17 and I read the script and I was like, I don't get this. And so when my part was cut, I was like, oh, thank goodness. And
Oh,
then
wow.
went and saw the movie and it was an absolute masterpiece. Um, but I didn't really start getting into film and television until sort of after college. I had auditioned for things and I had done like bit parts here and there, but it wasn't until I was cast in Can You Ever Forgive Me that I was really on like a big set and got to see what that was like. And I think growing up, because I'd started in theater, I was always told, well, theater is a place where there's a big ensemble and it's a family and you all come together and you rehearse and it's extremely collaborative in that way. And film is more of a director's medium. And so I always kind of had that in my head. But then the first time I was on that set, I got to see, when the director called cut, all these different people running across the set and fixing a light and touching up makeup and just doing all the things that you do on a set. And I saw how many people it takes to create one moment on film. And that was like so inspiring to me. I was like, I have to do more of this. I wanted to learn more about behind the scenes. I moved to LA like shortly after that because I wanted to really immerse myself in the film and television
Did
scene.
you feel those family elements in theater too, though?
Oh, absolutely. I just think it's different. I think, with a film set, you have a family for, a month or a month and a half, however long the shoot is. And people sort of come in and out and you have your sort of like core crew that you have, and it's kind of like summer camp in that way. But, um, theater, it's a much smaller group, but it usually lasts for a bit longer. So it's just
Mhm.
kind of a different sort of, I guess if like film is summer camp, then theater would be uh boarding school. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'd have to think of what
Yeah.
the right metaphor would be.
But it's always so hard either way that when it's over, you're just like, poof, those people that you were in the trenches with and got really close with and were vulnerable with and, supported and uplifted. And it's like they're the best family you could ever hope for. And then it's just like everybody's gone. You kind of go your separate ways. It's like
You
some,
really mourn.
yeah, you mourn, right? And I think as actors, that's why was one of the reasons why we're always just so yearning to stay in that place forever or get back to that place because it just feels so good being in your own world.
When you run into them later
So
too,
true.
there's that bond that's just like,
Yeah.
and it's just like time didn't go, but it did,
Yeah.
and it's always the same thing. We gotta stay in touch. I'll call
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
you have no real world sort of
Yeah.
foundation for a relationship really because it all happened in this imaginary world in this imaginary scenario.
So
Um
true. I
but
think one of the things I love about producing too is that it elongates the process a little bit. I have such a hard time letting go of things, but now we're in the edit for Mattress Mack, and I'm thinking about it every day. And watching clips from it every day. So it does like I am
Sure.
still immersed in it in
Yeah,
a
you're
way which
getting to cherish it
yeah.
like a photo album. Like I would always show people our photo albums, and it was like reliving those moments over and over again. You're getting to cherish them.
Did
Oh,
you have
it's
a
so great.
difficult time with the acting? Because I know, like, I'll audition a lot of kids, and they get a Disney job, and then they think that's everything's Disney. Was the schooling help you sort of learn that the difference of the styles?
Oh, 100%. I mean, I again, at People's Light, this is becoming like a commercial for People's Light Theater Company. But People's Light was such a wonderful experience because it was all about the craft, and I was wearing all black and very serious and reading Ibsen, and like I was such a serious kid. And then when I moved to New York, that was around the time they were auditioning for Hannah Montana. And that was such a weird, like, I was like, what is this? And also, like, I did a lot of, like, musical theater, and it's funny, I played Annie when I was 10, and I watched clips of it, and I was a very serious Annie. I was very, like, there were, like, tears in my eyes, like, I took myself very seriously. Um, but so I think went from,
I mean, there's a lot of
being
pain
this.
there in Annie.
Yeah,
There's a
right.
lot to draw
There is.
from.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, yeah. I mean, my Maybe, like, the song Maybe where
yeah.
she's, like, singing about her parents is
Oh,
devastating, and it
oh,
really, like,
oh
it
God.
is, like, it is such a sad song. She is an orphan.
Yeah.
So I was that kid. But yeah, I mean, I think I definitely learned through the years, the different styles. At LaGuardia, it was amazing too. Like, my senior year, uh, I was cast in Noises Off
Uh,
for the big spring drama festival senior thing, and I remember being upset that I was cast in it because I was like, "I'm a serious actor, and this is a farcical comedy." But that was such good training because I learned how to do farce.
Mhm.
And same with, like, in college, learning how to pick up a side for like a procedural TV show or a, sitcom. You just start to learn those different ways of doing it. And now I feel so much more comfortable actually in comedy than I do in dramas when I audition. So yeah, it's just really
It's
interesting.
just so much. It's just so much more fun. I think it's just
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. It's a lot more fun, but it is also, I feel like, easier to fall on your face
Hmm.
in comedy because if you don't hit it just right, if you don't
Oh,
get the,
yeah.
like, yeah, it's
And
difficult.
comedic timing it's a subtle art. It's a very persnickety little spot and moment. Like, I actually remember, you know, say what you will about Friends or the traditional sitcom, whatever vibes that whole thing was. I just always was like kind of in awe of Jennifer Aniston in that because
Oh,
she had
yes.
such a great way of being a real person, but also like landing those comedic bits every time. And I remember auditioning for something that was kind of a similar vibe and just sucking at it. Like, I was like, wow, this is way harder than I thought to like really get those comedic bits to land properly. Otherwise, it's just
Yeah,
silence.
so true. She makes it look so easy.
Right? You think, "Oh, that's just her
Yeah.
personality, and that's just the way she," and it's like, no, those kind of, like, three-camera sitcom vibe things live before an audience and all that, that's a different beast that I feel like probably threads the needle between camera work and stage work, It's I don't know, it's just an interesting, playground, and also just when you come from theater and then you start getting into film, you start learning how to take a way of communicating to a large space and making
Mhm.
sure that you're expressing to the back of the room to just like honing it in to where you really need to not do anything for it to read. And if you do more than
Yeah.
that, it comes off as false. Like there's
Yes.
nowhere to hide. Did you
I mean, to
always
go
Yeah, go ahead.
no, no, you go ahead.
Did you always, want to be a film actor or, just an actor in whatever way, a storyteller?
Well, my like, AIM America Online screen name was Theater Ann. I was very like I was like a theater kid. But, it's funny when you were talking earlier about, making little movies with your cousins and siblings. I did that a lot too. And I look back now and I'm like, oh, that was me trying out film as a kid. And I think I didn't know it at the time, but I think I did want to do film forever. I just didn't really know what that was until I started auditioning and getting roles here and there. Um, but I think it started out just like I was like, I want to do Broadway, I want to do theater, and that sort of grew into wanting to do film and television. And yeah,
And so that shift to LA, which is such a it's like a different beast, and there hardly is any
Mhm.
theater. How was that for you? What was that journey like?
It was. I actually I sort of found a theater company, or like not theater company, but like a group of people who came from theater out there who I think exposed me to a lot of good theater out there. There's a lot of like really good black box
Oh
theater
yeah,
in
I was
LA
in
that
I was in
Mhm.
City Garage, and it was just like
yeah.
it was crazy. It was she's something else. Frederique, who runs it, and we do like 3.5 hour plays. And so I've called people in the last couple of years and said, "I'm sorry."
That's so funny. Oh my gosh, I've been in my fair share of 3.5 hour plays.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, especially at Northwestern. Like, Chicago's similar in that way, where there's, like, a lot of, like, experimental theater going on. But, yeah, so, there's, like, all these, like, cool pockets of theater in LA. So that was nice. But, I mean, I really did learn things I never knew about the film and television industry, things that, like, now I'm so thankful I have brought back to New York with me and as a producer that I have the knowledge of. Like, I remember one of the first conversations I had when I was out there, somebody was like, "Yeah, I wanna start in the mailroom at CAA and work my way up." And I was like, "The mailroom? What is that?" Like,
Yeah.
I didn't know what that trajectory was. And, um, or,
Well, you
I
should have
didn't kn
said,
I
"I want to be your best friend."
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And that person is now running CAA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, things like that are like I didn't know what like a first AD did, and now I'm like the first AD is the most important person on a
Yeah.
set, and
Right.
I had no idea. But yeah, LA was an interesting experience. I'm so thankful for my time there, but I feel so much more at home in New York because there's amazing film out here too. There's a really exciting independent film scene, and also in New Jersey,
Yeah,
there's a lot of film
De
happening
Niro's
there.
new place, and yeah, it seems like New
Mhm.
York's got a really good film scene, and I think it kind of takes that sort of New York seriousness that you felt as an actor, and a lot of the film is more artsy, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I think that's a good way to put it.
yeah. Did you have?
Most scrappy.
Yeah. Did
Scrappy.
plus it's if you're shooting in the city,
Yeah.
it's way harder.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Did you get much success out in LA to bring back to New York, or what was that decision like for you?
Yeah, I mean, I started my production company out there, so that was the best thing to come out of LA was getting the foundation to start the company there and all the connections that I was able to make while in LA. Yeah, and I did a couple movies out there and TV shows out there as well that, just contributed to me learning uh more about being an actor on those sets and just learning about those kinds of sets as well. And yeah, just meeting really incredible people, some of whom have now also come back to New York or come to New York, some who are holding down the fort in LA and who I get the chance to see out there. Yeah, I'm, yeah, I feel like I took a lot of wonderful things out of my time in LA
So,
for
as
sure.
an actor living out there in LA and you found your black box theater friends, are you going on auditions pretty regularly? Did you have an agent?
I did, yeah. I had an agent and a manager out there. I was going on a lot of auditions. It was my first time auditioning on the lots, which
Yeah.
was such a fun
Yeah.
experience. Like, it never gets old just
No.
like walking onto the Disney lot and
Yeah.
like just like it's the best. Um, so Yeah, but then I left my representation out there, like, probably 3 or 4 years ago once I started, writing a screenplay that I was like, "I just have to throw everything into this." It was getting to the point where I was starting the production company. I was writing this screenplay that I knew was special and something I really wanted to focus on, and I was going on a lot of auditions, like, probably, like, 3 or 4 a week, and auditioning is so much
So much
work.
work, yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, it's and this was also before I think there was the limit of, you can't go over X amount of pages that, we got those things
Right.
from SAG, those, what do you call it? Like,
Like a
guidelines or whatever,
Yeah. Yeah, you could do
yeah.
like a, 16-page,
Yeah.
procedural type audition. You could do same days actually, and
Yeah.
one's in Culver City and one's in
Well,
West
and
Hollywood.
then you do it, and they say, "Oh, that was really good. Can you do this character too real quick?"
Yeah, go in the
Yeah.
hall.
Yeah.
Let
Can
us
you
know when you're ready.
yeah, can
Absolutely.
you take these 10 pages and
Yeah.
just learn these real
Yeah.
quick?
Yeah. Your
Totally,
character has
or they're
ALS.
like.
Like,
Yep. Or they're
sure.
like, "You put yourself on tape, like, that's easy, you can just, like, do it in your bedroom," but then you've gotta do the lighting, you've gotta
Yeah.
find the person to do it with you, like, you've gotta make sure there's not, somebody, like,
Jackhammering
hacking down a
outside.
tree
Yeah.
right
Yeah.
outside of your apartment,
Yeah.
like, so that's also not easy, and so that was so much work, so I was like, "I'm just going to focus on writing," and that was such a great decision. I mean, I loved my representation, they were wonderful, but, now it's kind of like when I audition, it's just through, friends I know who are casting directors or producers or
Mm.
directors, and in that way, I know, like, "Oh, these are people who are really thinking of me for this. I'm not just a tape or a name, in the middle of 300, 500 submissions."
Mhm.
So the auditions are, like, much fewer and far between, but I kind of prefer it that way, and I was able to write this script that now my company is producing, and we have a wonderful director and cast attached, and, so, it was really worth it.
Was the producing side a lot of times for actors, they're like, "I'm gonna take control of this because I wanna put a vehicle together for myself." Was that sort of the idea where you like or like, "I wanna try to produce other people's stuff," or
Yeah, it was a combination of both. Uh, Part of me was like, "Wow, I know so many incredible writers and performers who aren't getting the recognition I think they deserve." And I know the co-founder of my company, Billy Magnuson, also felt the same way, where we were just looking around at all these amazing people that we knew whose voices weren't being heard. So that was definitely a huge part of it. Um, Writing definitely started for me as a way of writing roles that I wanted to play, but, I've sort of kind of like walked away from that a little bit. I think I'll do that in more in the future, but I think producing, acting, and writing, there's like one too many hats there. So I thought long and hard about it, and I think what I love the most right now is writing and producing. I think I'm a Virgo rising, so I like having
Yes, queen.
control.
Yes.
So, I think in that way, like, that's where I feel like I just don't wanna be the jack of all trades, master of none. I sort of wanna really master writing and producing right now, and then if that and then, act in other people's projects, maybe have a little role in this or that, and then maybe one day I'll write, like, a vehicle for myself, but that's not really the goal at this moment. The goal is really to, build the bungalow, as we say at Happy
Mm.
Bad Bungalow, and just, invite more voices in and really truly collaborate.
So where did the idea for this screenplay come from?
Oh, that's an interesting question. It's a comedy thriller that's sort of in the vein of Talented Mr. Ripley, but from a female perspective, and has a lot to do with manifestation and uh, looking at a coincidence that happens to you and sort of like really going with it and being like, this is a sign from the universe that I'm supposed to do X, Y, and Z, and that I deserve something. Um, and that came from just being a fan of The Talented Mr. Ripley and being like, where's the female version of this? Like, I want to see a woman really sort of have this incredible descent into manipulation and control in order to get the things that she thinks she deserves. Just because I find that movie so fun and thrilling and creepy, and that's kind of my favorite space to exist as an audience member. So I just wanted to write something that I wanted to see. And then it also came about because of this crazy coincidence that happened to me where um, I was with a friend out one night and I had this crush on this guy and I was like, I'm gonna manifest this man to walk into this bar right now. And I was sort of half kidding, but then 20 minutes later he walked in and felt more powerful than I ever had in my life at that moment.
Yeah.
So I was like, how do I combine these two feelings, this like feeling of like excitement and fun and also this like creepy, weird obsession thriller vibe that I love. And it and then that became the Housesitter, which is my screenplay.
And so you just, like, wrote all of that on your own, or, like, did you have like, a collaborator at all, or
I wrote it on my own, but I mean, I had a lot of people reading it throughout the years. It started out, I wasn't sure, like, I'd sort of, I knew at first it was, sorry, bleh. At first it was kind of two different versions. It was like, I, I was like, oh, I want to write a female led town to Mr. Ripley. And then I was also like, I want to write this movie about, coincidences. And the coincidences movie was sort of it was a comedy, and then I was also, like, kind of writing a thriller, and I didn't realize they were the same movie until I made a short version of the coincidences one, and it was like a comedy, and I was like, "Comedy is just wrong. I don't know what's going on here." And a friend of mine was like, "I think it's the wrong tone." So then I was started writing it as a thriller, and I didn't really know where it was going. And then one night, I truly just it was like I sat up in bed and I like, knew what the ending was. And then I took a class at LA City College. They have a class that's called Write a Screenplay in 5 weeks. And it's very like it's just basics. It's like Save the Cat, Hero's Journey, all of that. And I was like, this is a kick in the butt. I need to write this. And so then I wrote it in 5 weeks. So it was like 2 years of mulling on it and trying to figure it out. And then it was written in 5 weeks. And then of course there's been like a million drafts since then. And I've gotten incredible notes and feedback. And in that way it's been really collaborative. But yeah,
Mhm.
I wrote it on my own to begin with.
I think one thing you said was that community is so important because as they grow, you grow, and those
Mhm.
relationships grow, and they do. That's like I trust them, so I'm going to put them in this movie. And then two, so much great work is created in LA by so many talented people, but they feel like they're a failure because it doesn't evolve or sell, right, or get to that stage.
Right.
But I also think that we don't take into account that the movies we love are so far and few between. And so you're trying to produce and get stuff out there that is of good work, and you're competing against Hannah Montana, like all these
Mhm.
shows that
Mhm.
are not, and these TV shows that are not up to that standard. And so how do you feel that you were able to get through that gauntlet, I guess?
Gosh, I mean, I think we're still trying to do that. I think that's like another pillar of our company is there's just so much out there right now, and there's so many people who are making both really wonderful things and people who are making like kind of like not great
Yeah, stuff for
things.
sale or commercial, like they
Yeah.
have the
Yeah,
motives are different, you know? I mean, I
exactly.
would
So
say you
it's
did.
trying
You
to
made
get through
Mattress
them.
Max. I'd say you did break.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean that's been like I'm so proud of that movie. But that was, that was 6 years of working on it. I
Yep.
mean, just right before coming on to this, I was pulling something up and I found something from 2021 about Mattress Mack, like some meeting that we had way back then. I mean, it's been, really um just pushing the boulder up the hill. And at the end of the day, I think, what was able to the reason we were able to kind of get to the other side was persistence, just not giving up. And then also kind of things falling into place at the exact right time, which is, when you're in the weeds and somebody tells you that, it's just got to be the right moment and things just have to, you know, crystallize in the right way. It's like, yeah, 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 I want to make it now. Like, I don't understand why I can't make it now. But really looking back, it's like that's what happened. It was the right moment for it to happen and for it to come together. And yeah, I mean,
Was it the
it's
pandemic that exposed you to Mattress Mack? Like, how how did
a little bit,
how did you
yeah.
guys
It
how did he
was
land in your sphere of a awareness?
so Shane Andrews, who wrote and directed it, is the third member of Happy Bad Bungalow. In 2020, right before the pandemic, Billy and I had started conversations about making starting a company together. And uh and then in the sort of middle of the pandemic, it was actually June 6th, 2020, because I looked up when the email was sent. Um, excuse me. Um, Billy was like, "Hey, a friend of mine from college, Shane Andrews, sent me this script. Will you check it out?" And I read it and I was like, "I love this. This is amazing. Who the heck is Mattress Mack? This story is so fun." And so then we started talking to Shane about the script, which he had written, I think, 2 years before that. So for Shane, it's been a
Mm.
8-year journey of making this. Um, and then we liked Shane so much, we were like, "Do you wanna be a part of our company?" Because he just complements us so well that I think 3 of us have such different specific strengths. So it's the trio that we have is, really strong. But so yeah, it was very organic. We were doing that exact thing that I was talking about where we were reaching out to talented friends and saying, "Hey, do you have a script? Do you have an idea? Is there a log line that's been like bouncing around in your head that you've been thinking about? Or did you make a short film that you want us to help you move through the circuit?" Like, we come in at various stages of projects, but I think, you know, one of the many reasons that Mattress Mack is so special is that it was really homegrown. We worked on the script with Shane and built it up from the ground with him.
And was Shane in on the East Coast as well?
He's actually in Austin. He's in Texas.
Oh, he is? Okay, well, we gotta get him
Yeah.
on the show
So,
because I mean, I will
oh
say
yeah,
Shane is, like, one of my new favorite people I've ever worked with as a director. He's beautiful with actors. He handles the set so amazingly, and he just has a presence and a vibe that creates a feeling of safety, exploration, openness, and he just was a real calming presence. I don't know. I was very, very impressed with Shane. That was his first time directing, yes or no?
yeah, his first
Yeah.
time directing, but he also comes from an acting background, which I think
Mm.
speaks a lot to his style of direction, his ability to work with actors. It also I think it shows up in his writing. I think his dialogue is beautiful and natural and funny, and that comes from, reading scripts, acting in scripts for so many years. And that was another reason that we thought he would make a wonderful partner in our company because he sort of came from the same boards that that Billy and I did. But,
Mhm.
that's so wonderful to hear you say. I I completely agree. It was, amazing watching him on set. He's such a phenomenal talent and, yeah, just a wonderful director.
I think that's so important too. And you hear a lot of directors say, I took an acting class so I could understand actors. And I think that you guys coming from that background as producers, because a lot of producers are like, ugh, they got to do the little acting thing. We got a schedule to go to. We got to
Mhm.
keep
Mhm.
moving. And it's like, we got to make our day. But you guys are like, hey, this is the thing. And that's what I always say. I go, no one knows that your day ran late, when they watch a movie. Um, so it's like the fact that you guys have that super, super important, I think. And then I did the 6 years, and
So true.
the 6 years, was it, the money that I mean, I'm at that's what always tends to be the issue is trying to get someone to write the check so you guys can go do it. Was that what took so long? And how did you guys end up
Yeah, I
doing
mean,
it?
Yeah, it's the classic chicken egg thing where, you're trying to attach talent to get money, but the money wants the talent and the talent wants to know that the project is real, so they want to see the money. So it's the constant dance of going out to actors, going out to different companies. Ultimately, we met a great team, Roosevelt Films, who they're based out of Texas as
Oh, I
well,
know. We
and
had Christian
I
and
think
John on here. We know them really well.
oh, that's
Yeah.
Yeah.
right,
Yeah. Yeah.
amazing. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're incredible, and I think because it's such a strong Texas story, I think it really resonated for them, and they had the motivation to help us, uh, push the boulder up the hill, um, in a way that was we were able to actually put it together, and we also had a bit of a time crunch with it. We had a a time in our schedule where we had to do it, and that was that was honestly maybe the biggest blessing because it just lit a fire under us that we were like, "Well, we don't have all the money yet, but we're going to find it." And we did. And it was probably the hardest month of my, producing life was the month leading up to production, but, oh my god, um, it was so thrilling. It was like every day I woke up and I had my mission and my marching orders and uh was able to pull it off.
Was that time limit because of an actor's schedule? Because I think that's good for our audience to know is that a lot of times you can get a, a good actor because they have their agents like, look, we have a gap and I can fill it, and so if you guys can get the money, then you can have them for a month or her.
Yeah, it was exactly that. It was an actor's schedule. We we thought we were going to have a longer runway, and then something popped up, which meant that we had to push production up 4 weeks. So we went from, uh, gosh, what was the actual it was like we went from thinking were going to have 6 weeks of prep to, like, 2. It was crazy. It was like I can't remember the exact number, but we had to push 4 weeks forward or backward, depending on I'm not explaining this well. But
Yeah.
basically, we had to start production 4 weeks earlier than we had initially intended, so we lost 4 weeks,
And
but
not
it
have
was,
all the money
um
yet,
Yeah.
and like all
Yeah.
that
yeah. Oh,
craziness.
we
Yeah.
Yeah.
we did not have all the money, and it was a string of good, like, in right time, um, a connection that I had met at South by Southwest that led to me meeting this person, which led to me meeting this person, which led to me finding the last bit of money we needed. I mean, just like crazy, uh, coincidence slash, hard
I
work.
will say it like bled through from my experience too. I think something about this Mattress Max world is a little bit fated in that way because
Yeah,
literally a month earlier, I was playing the role of a doctor to a young
that's
actress
right.
named Darby on a film called Elastic Hearts. And then exactly almost to the day, a month later, I was in a hotel in were we in Fort Worth? No, we were in, Houston,
Conroe, I
in
think.
Conroe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Conroe.
Yeah, and I looked at the call sheet for the next day, and I saw Darby's name again, and I was like, "Well, there's not really any Darbys that are, like,
Yeah.
actresses randomly in the world. It's gotta be the same Darby." And I looked, and it was, and then I was playing her doctor again a month later, and it was, like, the strangest coincidence that's ever happened. Um
Yeah, that was so amazing. We were so lucky to work with Darby. She was actually in a short film that our junior executive, Emma Steiger, directed called Wait to Tell Mother that, is making the festival circuit right now. Emma's a wonderful actress and director in her own right, and Darby played the younger version of her in the
mm.
movie. So when we were casting, all of us being like we were like, "Oh, like, what young actress?" Like, we auditioned some people, and we're looking around, but we couldn't get Darby out of our head. She's such a wonderful, wonderful, wonderfully gifted actress. I can't wait to see Elastic Hearts as well. she's so phenomenal at Mattress Mack. I
Oh,
think
yeah.
she's really special.
She was doing some really great work in Elastic Hearts too. She's just a phenomenal little person.
I mean, that's
love
why
it.
it's so important to have that community, like you said, because that you have this trust.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so true.
I forgot
And
what I
that's
was
why
gonna
that ends up happening.
these coincidences, right?
Yeah, like you're saying, like, you were in this one movie and then she was in it. It's like it's all this kismet, wonderful
Yeah.
kismet.
Well, so kind of a weird off question that I don't think I've ever asked anyone, but since you've come from being an actor and you're producing and writing and oftentimes on set and in this world, it's the guy's world. There's a lot of dudes. You seem to be surrounded by some really good ones. But are you finding it at all hard or different when you're making the calls and you're pitching the thing and you're talking all about it and doing the same thing that the guys would be doing? But um, how is it being a female producer, writer in the world like you're doing?
Hold on one second. I think you froze.
Oh, hello?
Oh,
Yeah.
there you
Can you
are.
see me?
Yeah,
Yeah, now I can.
you
Am I back?
froze.
It was such a deep, intense question that I broke the
I
feed.
know.
Yeah.
It's so true. And I was literally, I think when I froze, I was saying sexism is rampant in the industry.
Oh, great. Well, let's repeat that
So
then.
Yeah,
so
let's take it. Let's take it
Let's
again.
Yeah,
definitely
there we
do that
go.
again. Sexism
Yeah,
is
so
rampant in the
yes,
industry. Yeah.
it sure is. I mean, I don't even know where to begin. Like it's constantly it's like little microaggressions here and there, especially I think in the just trying to get women's stories told, or not even women's stories told, like trying to get stories where the woman is at the center of the story told, which isn't necessarily a woman's story. It's a human story,
Mhm.
and the human just happens to be a woman. um, and I think what I've realized is that as a woman, I have in this world been conditioned to automatically know how to identify with um, men's stories because there's
Yes.
so many of them
Yes.
out there, and I don't think that a lot of men have had to have done that in the same way as women, and of course, not all men, and yada yada. But and yes, like you said, I'm in a company with two of the best men out there who champion women's stories. I think most of our slate, just by happenstance, happens to be stories where a woman is in the driver's seat in the story, and not just because they're good stories that are well told and interesting, but yeah, I think it comes from, an implicit bias, just,
Mhm.
people not knowing what they don't know and not quite knowing how to uh interact with the story where a woman is leading it. Whereas like I do that naturally. I go see Marty Supreme and I'm immediately able to put myself in his shoes. And so there's a lot of people being like, "Oh, this woman is unlikable. This woman is unrelatable." Those buzzwords that you hear about all the time. I mean, I think we're constantly hearing that. I'm constantly hearing that as a writer. We're constantly hearing that as producers on a project where um, it's a woman led story. But all of that being said, I think things are changing. I think it's been easier to point those things out in the room uh, than it has been. Um, I also just think like because I have had uh, incredible men and women in my life supporting me and supporting my work, I've found my voice more because of that, and gotten the courage to speak up when I see uh, sexism happening. So yeah, even though it's a shame that it exists and is very obvious, I think change is change is happening, and
But
that's a wonderful
I
thing.
think it's so important and so powerful that you said that because that's the thing is that microaggressions and all we sort of have a way of just reacting to. as women, but that I had just started realizing not that long ago, to be honest, that every story I was watching, every film that was being told to me was led by the men in the story.
Yeah.
And like,
Mhm.
it had never really occurred to me because it was just like, It's a Wonderful Life is one of my favorite movies, but it's Jimmy Stewart, right? Like you're following, the man is projecting the whole thing. Ghosts of Inisherin or whatever it's called. Any story that is told is like the men are the driving thing, but I never was like focused on the fact that they were men. I was just in the story myself. And then I started to realize, oh, but it doesn't usually go the other way. And if it does, then it's a female driven, or it's sort of packaged and said to you that it's a woman in the lead, or it's a woman driving in the story or whatever, as opposed to just it's a human, it's a person. We don't tell many stories with the women being the protagonist. And, it even trickled down to at some point when I found myself on a almost entirely female-led crew of a film set, that I realized it was so bizarre how shocked I was. Like, when I showed up that day and the grip truck is being unloaded and it's, like, a woman doing it, and there's another woman, and there's another woman, and there was a woman DP and a woman director and and I was like, "Oh my god, this is nothing but women here. I've never seen that before." Like, it was so foreign to me. And then I was like, "That sucks that it's so foreign to me. Why is it?" And so, like, I'm so glad that you came on and that you said that, because I think as women growing up watching movies, we are used to just putting ourselves in the role of whatever that character is. And 9 times out of 10, it is brought to us by a man.
I think that's because the industry doesn't change. It's back to Jimmy Stewart. It's like that's how it was always a lead, and this industry never looks at it and says, "Wait, let's see where this isn't working or what the problem is, and let's try to change." And like even in the room with casting, someone will do something, and we're like, because especially Carmen, she's like, "You can't do that anymore. Like you're not that's that's not allowed."
Yeah.
And there's this mentality that, well, this is the way it is, and this is the way it should be, and this is how we move forward, and this is how we do it.
Well, and I think we're so grateful right now because women are getting more roles, more substantial roles, and more interesting roles. But even when you take a story like One Battle After Another, Leo is the story is mostly from him driving you from the beginning to end of the story. Tiana Taylor's a great part of it, and what an amazing, fantastic role, and we're championing that. But it's still like those are the dudes that we're following through this story,
Traditionally, it was because Leo's worth that value, right?
Right.
But it didn't happen. People didn't go to the movies,
Right.
So I think there's a big change happening for various reasons, but there is a change.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, a little bit maybe.
Little bit maybe.
No, I think so. I mean, something that I'm, have been really encouraged by is the huge, massive success of Heated Rivalry. And
Right.
obviously that's, two men, but it's two gay men. It's marginalized voices. And that was a scrappy, low budget Canadian TV show with two unknowns. And what worked about it was a story that people could connect to with two, dynamite performances. And it makes you just want to be like, put a neon light on it and say like, look, this is what people want to see. It doesn't like, let's throw out the algorithms and oh, this person was, in this successful franchise, so that must mean that they will get butts and seats. It's like, unless you're, Jack Black, it's not always, just because of the actor. It has to do with so many other things. And I think a lot of times the people that get to make the decisions are really just looking off of algorithms and spreadsheets and not actually looking at what makes good art, what makes good storytelling. And that's audiences are smart. That's what they want to see. They want to see good stuff. But yeah, I mean, I loved what you were saying about, not even knowing that you were watching all these male led stories until you did realize. Cause I mean, I always like to say once you notice it, you can't unnotice it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it takes a second sometimes to notice that and to notice how rampant it is
Yeah.
in the industry.
It started affecting my choices because I was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
I don't wanna." It's just like, okay, there's like 7 guys. It's just it seems like a guy story again. You know what I mean? I was like
Mhm.
getting kinda burnt out. But, anyway, now you're moving into this next thing with, thriller, right?
Yeah.
And you always have had this
Comedy
little, like,
thriller.
comedy thriller bone, I think, in you.
Yeah,
So I'm
I
interested to
think
see how
so.
you're gonna flex that muscle.
Yeah, I think it will be fun. We have a great director, Alexis Jack now attached to direct it, who is so funny and also just a master of the thriller genre. So we're so lucky to have her and this incredible cast we're putting together. And I think it's yeah, it's gonna be another really fun, happy bad picture, completely different from Mattress Mack, which is also what we love. We love all different kinds of stories. So I feel very fortunate that I'm with a wonderful group that gets to tell those stories.
Yes, and will
Wait,
you be making that out there on the East Coast, or where will you be making that?
New Orleans
nice.
is the plan.
Okay, that's perfect setting.
Yeah, very
Some of
spooky,
that
spooky
voodoo
fun.
in there, yes.
Exactly.
We have to wrap up.
Yeah.
And then I guess any knowledge or when are you guys finishing the edit process? We'll have to have you guys all back on when it releases
Yeah,
to
we
help
could have
promote
Love
it.
that.
Shane and
Yeah.
Billy and everybody that wants to come.
Yeah.
Oh,
Talk
would
about
adore
Mattress
that.
Mack. I'm so looking forward to that film. I know so many people just
Here in this
love
region.
Mattress
Yeah.
Mack
Yeah.
and just like are so excited to see what it's
It'll
all
definitely
about.
do well in Houston.
Yeah.
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 Well, I think what really works about it is it's such a specific story about a very specific person, and because of that, it becomes universal.
Yes.
It's I think the more specific you are about the character and their journey, the more people will relate to it. Like my favorite movie in the world is Billy Elliot. That's about a 12-year-old boy in a mining town who wants to be a ballet dancer. Like I'm not that person at all, but I relate to
Mm-hmm.
that little
Mhm.
boy so deeply, and those are my favorite kinds of stories.
Awesome. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much for
Thank
coming
you for your
on,
time.
and it was so good to see you. Is Peanut there?
So good to see Piglet. Her name's Piglet.
Oh,
Piggy,
Piglet!
come here. Come here, Piglet. Come here. Hold on, let me grab her.
Oh my god,
Just wanna
please
say
get
hello.
Piglet. When do we think Mattress Mack is gonna come out?
Oh,
So God.
They still got to probably sell it.
yes, we've gotta sell it, gotta finish the edit,
There
but
she
here
is!
here Pig
Hi, Piglet. I kept calling you Peanut like a nerd. I didn't know that. Okay, she's gonna
is
Oh, I'm
she's
sorry.
great.
I'm
Gonna
not
make you
familiar with your I should be more respectful. We have a seasoned actress in the room. You're
she's a
adorable,
great
Piglet. Thank you for
Thank
coming
you.
on. Oh my
oh
god, I
my gosh,
love
thank
you
you so much. This was
guys.
so much fun, such an honor. I really, I'm very honored that
No,
you
really, thank you
spoke
for
to me.
lending your voice because it means a lot to me, so I appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you.
To me as well. Thank you so much.
Our show today was recorded in studio by the good folks at Record ATX. Check them out at recordatx.com. Our theme music is produced by Jonathan Price. You can check out some of the sounds he makes with his project, The Mid-Cities, on Spotify. Follow, subscribe, and smash that like button if you see one. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll see you guys next time.